International experience has varied meanings in different contexts. However, we can convey that it implies moving from one country of origin to a different country to live, study, or work for a certain period that can be short or longer. Or it can involve dealing with international people which have a different language and or cultural background from what you have, even within your own context without moving, thanks to local, international, or online relations. Even though we are living in global and interconnected contexts where international connections have increased for different reasons. And if we look at our universities today, courses are taught in English and in languages other than the local languages. We still face this challenge that many professors lack international experiences. There are actually different reasons for this. One reason is their lack of awareness about the possibilities of gaining international experience. Basically, in many cases, teachers don't have information on how to gain international experience, how to pursue the process of gaining international experience. And in other cases, many teachers don't have the resources to actually gain or pursue the process of gaining international experience. So they might think that it is something that is very difficult and outside of what they can do based on these challenges. Another problem that teachers encounter are problems that has to do with the teacher themselves. And this is because that due to the teacher's preferences for sort of staying in their comfort zones, in their routines, and not making an effort to get out of their familiar monocultural context, many teachers don't pursue international experience. This problem also persists as it pertains to teachers gaining international experience within their local environment or even online environment. I mean, if we look at our cities, in many cities, especially in urban metropolis and nations' capitals, we have many local international contexts that consist of expatriates, diplomats, international students, etc. And of course, like I mentioned earlier on, you also have internet connections where you could sort of link with colleagues abroad. So it's today it is actually easy to have and to build international relationships. It could be through project collaborations, continued learning processes, projects, or other educational opportunities. But despite these opportunities, many teachers also do not feel comfortable using English as a second language to communicate and to interact. I mean, even in their local international context. And many teachers are also resistant to changing their environment, and they are very uncomfortable with going out of their routine, their familiar context, or as we've talked over and over again, comfort zone. Another reason that teachers are unable to gain international experience basically has nothing to do with the teacher, but lack of funding here, because the teacher might possess the networks and have the willingness to search for opportunities, but lack the financial support either from the university or other funding sources. So that's a big problem. And part of this reason is also the lack of institutional support, because if the institution has the finance, they would also support as well. But lack of institutional support could also be expressed through a lack of financial support for, let's say, sabbatical years, going for visiting professorships, going for conferences, and other possibilities out there. The thing here is that the lack of institutional support uh, could also be the lack of infrastructure and support for teacher training initiatives, both in-house trained teacher courses or teacher training initiatives abroad, or online training, for instance, on how to teach effectively in a second language, or exposure to other teaching methods or pedagogical approaches, or skill development in effective teaching. It could also be public speaking, it could be courses on academic writing or network development, and so on. Let's take a look at some of the effects of teachers' lack of international exposure on classroom interactions, and on how teachers can manage or lead these interactions. First of all, from international engagements, teachers and in general people can emerge with developing their intercultural and global citizenship skills, which means with more understanding and acceptance of the social and working culture of the people they meet. Acceptance does not imply changing who you are or compromising your culture, your identity, or your creed. It is rather that you are open minded because you are aware that your cultural viewpoint is only one among other possible ones out there. So, consequently, missing international engagement experience teachers in a multicultural or multi-ethnic classroom can first of all feel uncomfortable or ineffective when using English as second language as the means of classroom interactions. Secondly, they might not be able to foster students' intercultural attitudes in going out of their comfort zones, respecting diversity, and being able to engage in intercultural dialogues. Thirdly, they might not be able to understand and diagnose possible intercultural problems that can occur in class. Therefore, they might not be able to solve in class intercultural problems in teacher student interactions, or interactions among students in plenary sessions or small groups situations. Finally, but not the least, teachers might not be able to implement educational or intercultural pedagogical practices that encourage cultural awareness and sensitivity, intercultural competence in terms of knowledge, attitude, and skills, the reduction or deconstruction of possible stereotypes and of possible other ethnocentric manifestations among students with different cultural backgrounds.
Indeed, through the experiences in international environments, teachers can have the possibility of meeting and socializing with academics from other cultural backgrounds, meanwhile developing our intercultural and global citizenship skills. Now, as an academic, you already have something in common to build acquaintances as well as learn about other cultures.